And just for the naysayers out there, can you make a living as a reseller?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You just...
and it's easy, right? You just snap your fingers and it's Hey, I always get questions about the reality of reselling. Can you really make a living reselling? So I got 3 folks here with me, the Picker Pros here, that are going to tell you about the realities of reselling. And these guys all make a living doing it. So let's take a look. All right, y'all, I've got 3 great resellers here. And we're going to start off with Tim from Over the Years here. And we're going to have an intro. And through this show, we're going to intro each of their channels and talk about what they do. But I want to hear from Tim first. Tell me, Tim, how long have you been reselling? And what is your niche? What is the thing that you resell the most?
So I've been reselling probably for about 2.5 years, full time. Just hit a year, my first full year of full-time reselling this February.
Okay.
And my niche is, or niche, one of those two. So what I
always wait, Pete Craigslist Hunter, when he talks about niches, and it's the same, I think we all do it because of him, I blame him.
It's like tomato. So I specialize, I sell everything, 6 platforms, but I specialize in vintage collectibles and antiques, specifically in glass, porcelain, ceramics.
Okay. So all right, y'all. When y'all feel like overwhelmed when you listen to resellers on YouTube, like, look at what they can do, and I'm never going to be able to do. That's how I feel when I listen to Tim. I'm like, how's this guy do this stuff, man? 6, whatever. I'm just like, yeah, I'll do eBay. Throw in a little bit of this, maybe a little bit of this. This guy gives me headaches just listening to
Well, I mean, Serdok was a big, pusher. So he was one of the people that got me into doing so many platforms. Okay. So I blame him.
And just for the naysayers out there, can you make a living as a reseller?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And
it's easy, right? You just snap your fingers.
That's the only thing it's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's actually more difficult probably to be full-time than it is part-time. But... It's definitely possible. It's just you have to have the will, the dedication. Right. I mean, and I think one thing that we talked about, amongst us multiple times is you have to have the passion. Passion is definitely super important if you want to do this full time, because you have to love it in order to make it. I mean, that's the whole point of doing reselling the full time is, you're doing something that you're passionate about, that's your love. And to be able to pay your bills and, eat and make a living like that, you got to throw the food in there, because eating is super important.
I just took these guys out to dinner, so they shouldn't be thinking about food.
No, it was delicious. As soon as I got in the car, I was like, man, I'll tell you what, that was really good.
All right, so we're going to talk about that in a minute, the reality of it, but I just want to clarify to those nays, because I get emails from people, it's all fake and you can't do whatever. So there's 3 people here, full-timers. You're not looking at one behind the camera. All right, Serdok, what do you got?
I've been reselling for almost like 20 years off and on. Mm-hmm. I've had an eBay store since 2001. I've been
same as me, 2001.
Full-time reselling. I have been full-time reselling for like 2.5 years. Okay.
And your specialty. I know what it is, because I've been out picking with these guys. Matter of fact, I don't know if you're going to see the Picking with Pros video on the Commonwealth Picker channel. If I've already aired it, I'm going to put it right here. If I haven't already aired it, it's coming out soon. All right.
So my specialties are vintage hats.
Just like this one.
Yeah, just like this one.
There you go, right there. I saw him try to buy a hat off of somebody's head today.
I thought I was so close. I was like, I can do this. And
the lady?
She was like 80 years old, and she had like a sweet... It was a BF Goodrich Tires... Lynchburg, Virginia trucker hat.
Wow, nice.
And I was like, yo, this is an awesome hat. And she was like, nah, this is not coming off my head. So yeah.
He's the hat guy here.
Yeah, hats, vintage clothing, t-shirts, t-shirts and jackets.
Matter of fact, the first time I knew who you were here, I saw you, I was looking for a video, and I found him on YouTube. I'm going to put this video up right here.
Nice.
I'll let you take a look at it.
And then shoes. Okay.
I saw you pick up a few shoes today. I hate shoes, just FYI.
I love shoes. I've always been into shoes.
But you do a lot of repair and stuff.
I do. Do a lot of repair. Do a lot of. I love taking something that's been beaten, battered, and creating newness to it, and being able to resell, especially with the hats. I don't think a lot of people are doing that. Taking something that's dirty, old, and getting it back to what it once was.
I think he commented on one of my videos one time. He's like, "Why are you such an idiot? Why did you pass those hats by?"
I was telling him on the drive here. I said, "Dude, there was a video Kevin did. I remembered it. I threw it right in the comments. I said, bro, you just passed all those chugger hats and picked up some garbage."
And my answer was, "Dude, they're dirty."
Yeah, I'm like,
they're dirty. I'm like, I don't want to clean them. What do you think? I got a job. I gotta go work. He's like, "Yeah, I clean them."
Oh yeah. So.
All right, but t-shirts. Tell me about t-shirts.
I love vintage t-shirts, 80s, 90s, stuff that I grew up wearing. I grew up seeing. That just brings back a lot of nostalgia. So finding those out in the wild, especially like cartoons, music, all just a lot of old stuff because everything has a story to it. And I love the story behind the clothing and especially like the hats as well.
I think that's why we do what we do in here. I mean, there's a story, and if there's not a story, I'm going to tell you a history story about it. So that's good. Exactly. I got a couple more questions about hat and t-shirts, but I'm going to go over here to Eric because I know you're the. Does it look like he's the rookie here? He didn't look like a rookie.
No.
He's the rookie of the bunch. All right, so. Yeah. For all you new resellers out there, he's really successful as a reseller, but you haven't been doing it as long. How long have you been doing it, and what do you sell?
I started like August 2019 part-time, and then I've been full-time almost right at a year. And basically for me, I'm smart enough to hang around with guys who knows more than I do. So they teach me how to pick.
That is a sign of wisdom.
Yeah,
that is a sign of wisdom.
That's what happens when you start getting the gray hair. But
you put your own ego aside and you allow others to make you. As I saw this proverb I always say is iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another.
That's it.
There you go. I love it. I learn from all of you. I can learn from the worst picker. Not that you're the worst picker. I can learn from the worst pickers out there, let me tell you. All right,
yeah. So for me, I'm kind of jack of all trades, master of none, but I'm willing to learn, and I actually interview people all the time. So what ends up happening...
By the way, he has a channel. It's OBX Picker. I'm going to put it up here in a minute.
Yeah, so what happens for me is a lot of times I pick up tips from guys that have been doing it longer than me, or they are experts about certain things. I reach out to people within the reselling community, and they've helped me a ton.
It's funny because you never reached out to me. What does this say? You never asked me. Like, how do you find that Tupperware? Where's
honestly,
that question?
Man, if you remember, I sent you the super shooter. I said, dude, thanks for the tip on the super shooter.
Purple ab rollers, super shooters, and a man of Tupperware. Yeah. We're making a fortune in here.
Hey,
man.
Dude, I've got some Tupperware sitting in the shed if you want that tip back.
I'll show you my Tupperware bin back there. It's pretty good. All right, guys. First of all, they can probably tell now how short I am because they see like normal sized people in the shed. Like I come up to here. You're about my height. Yeah. So maybe you look. Yeah. I'll focus on. No, we're gonna go over to all right. Hey, daily routines. Real resellers have to have daily routines and have to have discipline. So give us an idea of what a normal day/week looks like.
Well, for me, there's no such thing as a normal day or a normal /week as a full-time reseller because it's always changing. Mm-hmm. So you really have to be prepared to roll with the punches. But basically, for right now, I travel to where I do most of my business. So that's part of my morning is traveling. So I leave from DC and go to Maryland to do most of my business. But once I get settled in,
you got a house.
I did have a house. So soon enough, you'll see all new over the years, like all in one room. So
speaking of, we got over the years. Here's OBX this time. So we got 2 for 2 here.
So it should be super fun. But for now, I stop by the storage unit. If there's orders that need to be pulled from the storage unit, I grab those first. Then I go to where I do my business, which is at Ma Duke's house. Shout out Ma Duke's.
Ma Duke's.
And so basically, I sit down at the computer first, and I will take care of all like my basic stuff. So if I need to share stuff on Poshmark, if I need to bump listings on Grailed, if I need to delist and relist items on eBay, if I have offers I need to send out. So all that sort of tedious stuff
business
first.
In the morning.
Exactly. Get all that stuff out the way
Stuff
first.
You don't want to do.
Yeah, well, you kind of do want to do it because you might make money, you know? So you do that, and then I kind of start mapping out the rest of the day. So will be mostly shipping, packing. So for me, packing can take a
And remember, he does
time.
glass, y'all.
Yeah, so it's a lot of packing. And then if it's Monday, Then I'm prepping for my live vintage sales, which is every Monday night. So I have to.
Oh, see that? Look at that. It's slick, right?
Yeah.
He's a YouTuber. Look at that.
8 o'clock
Monday
p.m.
night,
Eastern
8 o'clock.
Standard Time.
Shameless plug.
So Mondays is a
Maybe
different
pan
day.
over to my. I'm kidding.
I gotta do. I have to prep all the items for the sale. Prep the whole sale, then I do a live preview at 4:30, live sale at 8 o'clock. But shipping takes up most of the day. And then Tuesdays, though, are a little bit different. I get to hang out with these guys. So I try to pack everything I possibly can on Monday so that Tuesdays I can focus solely on listing. And what that does is it allows us the rest of the week to kind of do everything a little bit lighter, so I can mix in shipping with listing instead of just having to ship all day.
So
I go to the post office every single day.
Every single day.
Saturday. Except Tuesdays, unless I can avoid Tuesdays. If I do have to go Tuesdays, I go right when they open. That way I can be back in time to list all day. And Saturdays too, unless I'm at the flea market.
And so your sourcing mostly takes place. Is there specific days, or there? Because I know, like down here, there's nothing going on a Thursday.
Oh, it depends. Like, so I haven't been thrifting as much lately because I've been going to the flea markets on the weekend.
I don't lie. It's because you hate Goodwill.
No, well, yes, that too. But there's always Value Village in those stores, so I do okay. But for me, it's whatever I'm in the mood for. So like if I'm in the mood to go thrifting, like if I'm having a bad day, then
so that's like therapy, the plus, right? There's downsides, there's upsides to doing this full time, and the upside is kind of like you get to dictate to some degree.
You can choose
you
when you want to go sourcing for sure. But like right now, most of my sourcing is on Saturday mornings at the flea market because it's during this time of year. And bang for your buck in this time of the year, you can go out. So flea markets, yard sales. Right. But in winter, fall, I mean, it's difficult in the East Coast. So that's when you kind of transition over to like thrift stores. Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much a little bit of
Do you have like a listing goal?
No.
Okay.
So the listing goal thing is just when you're full time. Like listing goals, I think are actually really good if you're part time because it kind of keeps you, in that sort of line. But full time, I don't believe in a listing goal because if you try to do a listing goal, then that's all your focus is on that, and you lose track of the other little things that actually add up in being successful in a business. But my goal is to try to at least get something up, but like I don't really have a set number. And also, you can do certain things instead of actually creating a new listing, whether it be delisting or relisting or bumping an item on Grail,
making money on something,
sharing on something on Poshmark.
I'm curious when we talk to these guys about that listing goal. If I forget to ask you, come on back.
So no listing goal, just list.
You don't look like a listing goal kind of person to me.
No, but I bang them out, I bang them out.
You're making money, so something's getting listed.
But it's just that I think that some people get caught up in the hype of I have to list 10 items or I have to list 50 items. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that for me personally, I don't think that that's appropriate for the flow of a real life work week.
Okay. So. All right, I'm going to go on to you. I think did I go here? I can't remember. We're going to go on to Eric here. All right. So what does your day look like?
You absolutely have to listen. No.
Don't listen to anything he just said, right?
Just forget that. No, I'll tell you, for me, what I have learned is consistency. That's so for me, it is the same what he's saying. Like, get your packing done. That's for me, I've learned. Usually I have energy in the mornings more so than in the afternoons. So let's get as much accomplished as I can in the morning. I'm a morning person, so you late night like talk show guys. I mean, sorry. I was like, I'm always telling the guys I'm not staying up.
So I just tell you, I'm a late night person and an early morning person. I just have this ability. I have this. I don't know what it is. I don't. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I can run on 4 hours. And, I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse, but that's just the way it is. I guess that's how I work a job and do this.
9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm kind of seeing the light. I worked a job where I had to be up at I had to be to work at 4 every morning for a while. So now for me, like 5:30, I feel like I've overslept. One of those things. But so for me, it is more routine. Like get up, do packing and shipping, answer any emails that come in because that's a lot of it. You have stuff through the night. There's questions,
and then it's listing next and then shipping.
For me, I'll go ahead and do my packing.
Okay.
And I get that knocked out, and then I'll I'll list or organize what I need to get listing done. Because that's another thing for me. One of the things I've learned, it's harder to bang out like, hey, I'm listing this. I like to kind of stage some stuff in and throw in a little mixture, just to keep things going. But it's a grind. I mean, it's rinse, repeat kind of stuff going on every day, like packing, listing, shipping.
You got it. And you've been in it for now, what, 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 years. So are you burnt? Do you feel any burnout? What kind of things make you get to that point?
Hey, I think occasionally you can. If you get, like, I bought a ton of parts at one point. And I was listing parts every day.
Boat parts, right?
Boat parts, ATV Polaris, like
lawnmower
stuff.
parts too, right?
Yeah, lawnmower parts.
So you probably don't like my when in doubt, part it out mug right now. You're like, when in doubt, don't part it out anymore.
Well, I tell you this, I sell those things every day. Every day I have sales from those parts.
Bread and butter.
It's one of those things that's not glamorous. It's not cool. It's just like listing that.
I hear you.
So it's easier to get excited about things that you're excited about, but when it's things that, hey, this is what's paying the bills, then I'm going to list it.
Are you showing growth? You haven't been doing that long. Are you consistently growing this thing?
Yeah.
Are you to the point where you've got to that level? Like you were talking about listings. How many listings do you have?
2,100.
Did y'all hear that? 2,100 listings. That is crazy.
Now, for me, like I'll give you some little piece to that. There's probably 600 to 800 that are parts.
Does that include like multi-quantity?
No.
Wow.
No, I'm actually over 3 on multi-quantity. So.
What if I didn't ask these to these guys, but I'm curious now at 2,100 because this gets a lot of people asking me questions. I have like 800 things listed and nothing. So, okay, and I don't do store reviews, so don't ask. But let me ask you this: do you have what is your typical number of sales in a day?
Honestly, for me, it's really only 6 to 10.
Okay.
Because people talk about 1% sell through rate. That depends on what you list.
Yeah, it's totally dependent on the item. Right?
And that's all of this stuff.
Right. You probably have a lot of things that you might be the only person out there with.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're just waiting. I actually had a boat item. I was a windshield wiper. From like 1980. One single windshield wiper with the motor, and it was the only one out there, and it went for a certain boat. And I'm like, I put it out there for $180, and I just sat there and waited, and it got $180.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, so for me, a lot of those boat parts get bought by marine shops that are putting it on. Yeah. So like, it's crazy when a part shop is buying from you as an eBay seller. But so for me, a lot of that's long tail. A lot of that's going to take a while to sell. So the sell-through rate may not be as whatever a hot toy or video game or like something that's very more sought after. Right. So there's only a select few that are buying a 1973 crankshaft for a 56 horsepower motor.
Right.
Like,
I know you're not. I know you're not listing parts here. So what is your day? I know you have this just monolith. You just have this massive death pile, right?
I probably have the second biggest death pile on the East Coast.
So what does your day look like?
Now my day is kind of sporadic.
Okay.
Now, because I have the kid, like usually Monday through Friday, I have the kids doing online school. I basically have a kindergartner in online school, like, never experienced school. No. So like I'm like principal, part-time teacher, part-time cafeteria lady. And so it's a whirlwind. I don't know,
Right.
So what I'm doing right now it's going to change in the summer and then the next school year. Right. But what I'm focusing on right now, or what even I had before, that was kind of like the same thing. Wake up, get packages packed up, do some listings, do some, cross listing, do all the little items, go take some pictures. I'm a big believer in, are we moving forward? Yeah. Are we getting things prepared? Are we listing? Are we taking pictures? Because whatever you are, did I go sourcing? Whatever I'm doing is moving my business forward. So that's what I kind of like look at it now. Yes, I'm going to be distracted all day. Am I going to be able to work maybe a little bit at night, or maybe when they're with their mom or something like that, or on the weekend.
It's easier to work when you find the time to work.
Yes, I do the same but see, that's a bonus with being full time and not having being your own boss, because you could be like, you don't have to ask another person, hey, I need some time to take care of this, where you're like, if you need to go do that, you can just like, okay, stop, I'm stop listing. I don't have to ask anybody, and I can go take care of that. I can go make food at 11:30 in the morning, 11:30 or 1:30, or doesn't matter. I can just stop everything I'm doing and do that.
Since you depend on, all of y'all obviously depend on this for income, do you have any goals as far as listing goes, daily or weekly or monetarily? I always talk about, the kind of thing I sell, I try to, in the summertime for me, because that's my full-time time, right, is I try to list a certain amount of profit in a day, as opposed to a certain amount of items. And that allows me, because if I have a $200 profit item and I need to have time on Wednesday,
correct,
that's the day I list my $200 item. So it's just
what I've been doing really good during the summer is, trying to get to that monetary mark to where I have it where on my eBay I can see my total value of the store in dollars.
Okay. As opposed to
even if that sells,
right,
I'm trying to list to get it higher and higher. Right. And that's what keeps pushing me. I'm at a certain number. I want to be every day, I want to be pushing past that number, or in that week. Right. I want to be like, all right, I'm down here. I don't look at so much the number of listings, but that monetary, like this is the potential of what total could be sold. Right. So it's like if I keep on pushing that up, I know I'm moving forward.
Right. And I know you do different. So I had a couple. Remember, I told you I was going to ask you a question here. So, what percentage of your sales are clothing / hats?
So clothing. So I would break it down: clothing, hats, shoes.
Okay.
Probably make up 80 to 85%. So
that'll give you an idea, because there's so many people out there that say, I don't do clothes. Okay, and I don't do mostly clothes. But clothing makes up 20% of our income as well, of our reselling income. And I know you do a great job of it. And I just don't think that, it depends on where you are and what you're sourcing, but I think it's important to be dangerous in those items, even if you don't like doing it.
The main thing you have to be passionate about it. If you are not everyone's passionate about clothes.
Right.
If you're not passionate about clothes,
you mean you don't like listing LuLaRoe? This man started off listing LuLaRoe of all things.
Dude, we were on a live one time. He listed 2 jackets and he said, "All right, that's it. Nope, moving on to something else."
I actually brought these guys.
He's like, "Put the rest in the box and get rid of it."
I get it.
So you have to have just have to be excited about it, and I'm excited about what I do. Again, taking something that maybe, an old hat that's been on the ground, stepped on, beat up, getting it back to its, original form, and being able to sell that to someone that's going to cherish it because it has a story behind it, or they find some kind of relevance in it.
And I'll tell you, I think that's important, and that's what we're going to do in our last little segment here when they give you a couple of tips. So there's my tip, and I hope I'm not stealing yours. And this is not even my tip. I've heard 8 million people say it. I hear Pete Craigslist Hunter say it all the time. If you don't like it, don't sell it, because you're going to think it's a job. And I really take that to heart. And I do sell things. I picked this up today. I don't really want to ship this thing, y'all. But you know what? It's a little bit too much money to pass up. So I grabbed it, right?
It's cool. It was real cool.
It looks cooler now than it did out there in that yard sale, right?
I didn't even realize that was what we picked up today.
That's something I would.
It's the air gun.
I would pick up, but.
So at any rate, all right, guys, we're gonna give one more little segment in just a second. We're gonna do a tip from each of you to new resellers. All right, we're gonna try and go quick here, and we've got 3 full-time resellers. So I want one little piece of advice for anybody out there who's I don't ever suggest people go full-time. Obviously, I'm not full-time, at least not at this point. So I don't suggest people do it, but there are some people who have the capability if certain things are in place. And so since you guys are, I wanted to see if there's one little bit of advice or just an anecdote that you want to share about it with the people that are out there. Eric, what do you got?
I would say, man, don't leap dead into it just in the unknown. Like, make sure that you've got a base.
Don't watch some crazy YouTube guy saying, you can do it, you can do it, and then just do it.
It's not Lambos and rainbows. We know that's not the deal. Okay. So make sure that you've got a good, hey, this is how much I need to pay my bills. You might want to make sure you have enough to pay your bills for a couple months until you can scale up to a point to where you're taking care of that.
All right.
That would probably be one of my biggest tips, because I know people dive off into stuff and they think it's going to be, hey, if I'm full time, I'm just going to do so much more work.
Right. And yeah.
That's really not
You can,
reality.
how much can you actually make that's more? It's not going to be, well, I have 40 more hours to work, I'm going to make twice as much money. It didn't work out that way.
Yeah, you're going to end up watching Netflix after
that. Unless you don't have Netflix.
Netflix
like me,
and list.
So there you go. Netflix and list. I can think of Netflix is better than watching some of the stuff some people watch out there. But that's all right. All right, what do you got for us?
All right, so I'm going to try and be brief because I know y'all are tired of hearing me talk all video long. But I think that just to kind of like evolve, like put everything together, you know, a lot of what Eric said is, first of all, you need to make sure, you know, the leap is going to work with those who are closest to you, whether it's your significant other,
stuff, right?
your kids, your family, you know, like some way or another, there has to be, you know, just that has to be all ironed out first and foremost. Then secondly, I think that going off of what Eric said is my suggestion is what I did when I went from part-time to full-time was I pretended for 2 whole months that I was full-time, meaning that everything that I did and spent and, you know, purchased, everything was as if I was making no money from my real job. Right. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to do that first before actually having to really do it.
Yeah, and do it while you're still doing that full-time job, which, you know,
it was crazy.
Taker,
It was definitely crazy, but like I that for me was the biggest thing that like made me realize that I could do it. Also, crunch the numbers. That's the biggest thing. You have to be super analytical, crunch the numbers, your bills, your fees, your profits, you know, your sourcing, everything. You got to crunch the numbers. Like it's gonna suck. Right. It's gonna feel like you're doing taxes, but it is very very important. Yeah, so that's those to me are like your most important things.
I just noticed back here. I don't know what happened to your hat video. It was back here. He's got a couple big hat videos. I'll post one up for you. But look, he's got GNR shirt on there. He's got a slash shirt.
Little slash action.
All right.
My thing is,
what do you got?
I would say just kind of like know what you're diving into. Okay, especially like, you know, what's your inventory look like? What's your day to day look like? How do you want to set it up? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I'll go full time. Well, what if you sell all your stuff? Do you have planned sourcing? Yeah. Do you have, you know, like, you know, if you're just a garage sailor, what do you do in the winter months? You know, all those, you know, a lot of those things where it's like, you know, I have a big death pile. It's not as, like when COVID hit, it wasn't a bad thing, you know? So it's one of those, you know, getting enough stock, getting, you know, where not one day you're going to go to the thrift store and go, oh goodness, you know, everything's changed. I can't do this anymore. So just, you know, making sure you're focused on those little details, plus all, you know, all the other stuff, you know, act like you're doing full time before you go full time as well too. Like that, when you said that, it was like, that's perfect. Cause that's exactly what I did. You know, was I ready for it? You're never going to be like really ready to go full time. You know, if you think you're like, well, I'm going to go full. I got thrown into it 2 months earlier and I was like, all right, well, it's time to sink or swim. And if you believe in yourself, you'll be able to do it. So,
and I think well, let me look at the camera because it feels awkward when I'm looking at you and I'm talking to everybody out there. Maybe it's a little less awkward with you behind me. So I'm a teacher, y'all. So I'm just going to say this, that education is important. You got to have the knowledge and be prepared to increase your knowledge, whether that's watching people on YouTube or whether that's doing the research on your own. Knowledge is power. I went out picking with these guys today, and I went out with the intention that I was going to learn a few things, and I did. So I think that that's key, to pay attention to the people that are out there doing it and learn. And don't be afraid to learn from people that you think you know more than, because it's going to be helpful. You can learn from just about anybody out there. I just wanted to tell you thanks for joining me. You see Reagan out there? Reagan's going to come in here and give you all some merch in a second, all right? All right, Reagan wanted to give away some stuff out of her store. Yep. And give one to each of these gentlemen over here. And Turner's got something right here. Turner's got an Enaman. These are hot commodities here. We don't have many left, you see, right up here. Right up here. Got it. And one of these three don't have an Enaman. You have an Enaman. You have an Enaman. It's like Oprah. You get an Enaman. Would you give him that Enaman right there? Okay, go ahead and give it to him.
Thank you so much.
The special Enaman. All right, and Reagan, you have 3 shirts. Yep. And they all picked the classic Commonwealth picker shirt. Okay, you want to give it to them?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. And you know what else, Reagan? We are going to give them something else out of your store. We're going to give them some stickers, okay?
And don't forget to get your sticker at CommonwealthPicker.com.